So, where are we at the moment? Let's see if I can get that somewhere close. No. Perfect. So I'm doing some TIG welding in the shed at the moment, and I'm just waiting for the torch to cool down because I'm running at a full 200 amps on my snap-on welder, which I've started using again. So I thought I'll come in, I'll have a quick roll up, and I'll think what would be the next story. Tell you what, let's carry on from Bristol. So, Bristol. We've got, the old man and I have got a caravan, and we're basically living in a caravan in Bristol long before Bristol became homeless capital of the UK, or at least caravan capital of the UK, as I've seen on other videos on YouTube. But yes, we had our caravan, and the old man, he got himself a job at the St Vincent's Rock Hotel in Bristol, overlooking the bridge. Nice place. And he got a job there as a night porter. So one night, this guy comes in, and he demands that the night porter's bar is open so the guy can have a drink. And the old man's basically turned around and says, no, I can't open the bar. And the guy says, do you know who I am? I'm a gold card holder. Arrogant prick. So later on, after a shift, the old man says to me, is there anything I can do with this? And it was basically just the swipe from the card machine. Remember those back in the day? You see. Anyway, so he says to me, is there anything I can do with this? New to me, I'd never done anything along those lines before. So I says, I'll look into it. The arrogant prick that he was. So with just his card number, his expiry date, and his name, what I was doing is I was phoning places up and like buying a TV and saying it was for my son. I'm away on holiday at the moment. If I pay for it over the phone, can he come in and collect it? Well, when I got caught for that, that's the one thing that I did get caught for. I had run up £128,000 on this guy's credit card. Trying to think what the guy's name was. Don't know what the DS would stand for. Sure, it's not Detective Sergeant. DS Leg was the name of the person. And £128,000 is what I took out of his card. And I did that over a 3-month period. Until I went into a shop one day and the card didn't work. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, years later, well, I'll say years later, about a year and a half, maybe 2 years later, for some reason, I think it was more motorbike problems, the police searched the caravan and they found a non-working camcorder. And that camcorder, the serial number came back to that crime, put 2 and 2 together. I went to court, I got 2 years for that. 2 years young offenders. Started off in Feltham, which is, if you've ever heard stories about Feltham Young Offenders Institution, they're all true. Feltham I went to Huntingdon. Huntingdon I went to Finnemore Wood, which is an open prison. Couldn't be bothered staying there, so I disappeared. Got caught again, got 28 days loss of remission. Then I got another open visit and I disappeared again. I got another 28 days loss of remission. And then 3 days before I was due to be released, I got another open visit. And I didn't go back to that because I was looking at gate arrest for what I'd been arrested for earlier. And eventually I got lifted up in Scotland, and I spent 2 weeks in Barlinnie, and they wouldn't give me a release date because it basically says it was escaping. That kind of put the shits up me. But yes, instead of getting 28 days, I served for 3 days and 14 days, so 17 days, and then let me out. And I won't say that was the last time I was in prison, because I've been in prison again since. But yes, £128,000. That was a good one. But there was a time in Bristol, again, in the caravan. Knock on the door, police, checking me out. What's your name? What's your date of birth? Where are you from? Blah, 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 blah. It's a warrant out for your arrest in Inverness. I thought, fuck. So they've taken me to Southmead Police Station in Bristol and booked me in. And basically, they held me in the police cells, which is basically a block room with a concrete slab where they would put a mattress. No toilets in the cells back in those days, remember? There was just a channel that ran down the gutter where other people's feces and urine used to run through. So 3 weeks I was in the police cells in Bristol, and then detectives came down from Inverness, and they took me by train from Bristol to Heathrow. I spent a night in the detention cells in Heathrow. Then they flew me from Heathrow to Glasgow. And then Glasgow, they changed detectives, so they stuck me into the Greenock prison. I was only in there overnight. And that is a rough hole. Anybody who wants to talk Brixton, Wandsworth, even Monster Mansion, yeah, it's got nothing on Greenock. Greenock is a torture chamber. So, night in Greenock, and then late in the evening they picked me up, and two detectives drove me from Greenock up to Inverness, and that was the long weekend. So I was in the Inverness cells the Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, Monday night. Couldn't produce me in court on the Friday for some reason. I can't remember what it was. No, long weekend. Yeah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, in court Tuesday. Yeah. So I'm in court on the Tuesday, and I got a £75 fine, or 1 day imprisonment. I said I'll choose the fine, and I refused to pay it. Fuck them. Arseholes. And that was for when I was 15 years old. I had a Talbot Sunbeam 1.68 GLS. Nice little car. I had it in a council lockup. In fact, my foster parents bought it for me. And one day I was working on it, doodling around as you do when you're 15 years old. And some bigger boys came down. A guy called Whitey, he's dead now. Yeah, a lot of people in Inverness would probably have known Whitey from back in the day. But he decided to drive it round these lockups like an arsehole. Disappeared when the police came. Only person there now is me, so I've been arrested for that. And it was not long before I was 16, so it got deferred because they wanted to know if they could try me as an adult. Blah, 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 blah. Went to court, got adjourned, left Inverness, got a court date, went back up to Inverness, got adjourned, moved down to Bristol, totally forgot about it. So, for driving a car around a set of council maintained lockups, I spent a month in police custody. Yeah, and some people are saying, oh, they extend it to 8 hours to 12 hours. Try a month. My social worker from when I was 14, 15, 16, he just happened to be on court that day. And for the life of me, I can't figure out how much it was. But he tallied it up, and it was thousands, if not tens of thousands, that it cost to give me the £75 fine. And I've spoken to police officers since, and they've basically says if Scotland have got somebody with a warrant out for the arrest from England, they won't hold them. They'll just let them go. They'll just say go for it. But the other way around, don't know if it's still the same, but that's the way it was back in the day. So yeah, that was the start. That was Bristol. Bristol put me on the map at the time. And the only reason that we were in Bristol was a thing called Coldstream, which was your prelude, your 0898 numbers, and that never came to anything. But it did eventually, but not via Bristol. At the time, you could only do it in Bristol, Glasgow, and Leatherhead. But yes, that was Bristol. Moved away from Bristol and we went to London. And yes, that's an interesting one. That'll be another story. But I'm going to keep these to about 10-11 minutes. We're at 11 minutes 22. I'll have another story for you tomorrow. I'm going to keep these going until I fill YouTube with memories and videos. Yeah, take torch to cool down by now. I'm going to finish my roll up and then I'm going to pop out there and finish that off. Right, catch you later, dudes.